Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Mark. It's weird. I don't see the chat when people saying anything. There you are. Now I see them. It's coming up now. Seeing the image right now, Mark. I didn't plug any microphone, so I'm using the microphone from the laptop. You still hear me okay? Too far away? How's it going? How's it going? A couple cool things now that the previous version of Xtool didn't have. It's a handy little screwdriver with, I want to say, 2.5 millimeters. Yeah, a 2.5 millimeter hex and Phillips screwdriver. So really nice, actually really handy. So, Oscar, how you doing? Um, I literally just opened everything out of the box. The only thing that I took out of the box before was the module that has been sitting there. I mean, experimenting, but then the gantry, so I can pull the cables and stuff. There's a couple extra keys, of course, the regular SD card that they send all the time. So you guys can see the setup is a little bit better now. I have everything here in the computer. I have, you know, my work area, and I don't know if you can see it from there, but I want to show you something really actually cool. Um, Now you guys can hear me. Audio is back, right? Awesome. So I also have Lightburn just ready to do stuff. So I don't know what is in this box. I literally just grab everything I see on this little box, didn't record and bunch of screws and stuff. So we'll see what it is. Of course, the grease that they sent, and I can see that the rails came pre-greased. So that's one thing I can say. Oh, another thing I noticed. They sent this case for the goggles. So the goggles came on that now. Now, this is the regular ones. Nothing fancy. So let's start putting this together. I decided to assemble this machine and kind of hang out in the process. So I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna cut this thing off. Cut this without cutting anything else. There we go. So I have this off. Here's a ball bearing. It goes with this thing. And that thing is the belt that goes under here. Let's pull this a little. Make it easier. But it never is easy enough, right? Where is it? Come on. Pull the belt. My fat fingers don't help. Here's the belt. Here we go. So we have the air assist and the little stopper on the air assist here. Also we have here, see, it's nice that they put all this together here, but it's so hard to take it out for fat fingers. So let's try to take this out. There we go. Here's 2 more screws. I really don't remember much where each screw goes. I remember these long ones go for the tension screws. So tension screws, I'm gonna put it on the side. We'll see. There it is. Okay, so we have, these are 2 and 3. The hex, air assist on the side, and we all remember these short guys, you know, from the first Xtool, basically the frame. I like to separate all my screws to know, you know, what I have and what I don't have. Luckily, if I'm running out of screws or there is a missing screw, probably in my entire arsenal of screws here I will have something to replace it. But let's hope that there's nothing missing and I can assemble this machine with no hiccups. And especially if I remember how to assemble a whole machine, because, well, you guys know my machine has been tear apart multiple times, different ways. I'm gonna put here. So all these are the same. All these are the same. We have this other 2. And I'm not going to open the video. You know, I'm not trying to go through the video how to assemble the machine. But I'm going to do a quick recount of parts. So I have a 1.5 here. We have a 2mm hex here and a 2.5mm hex. I'm not gonna use these ones because, again, fat fingers is a pain in the ass. So I have here mine 2.5, and I'm gonna take out from here my little tools. I take out from here, this is the 1.5. Just in case I have a 3mm here. There we go. Let's put this back in place, out of the way. So here it is. All right. So what I'm gonna do first, let's take a quick look here. Okay, so one of the things is a lot of people ask, what is this little thing? That means that you got a laser that is a buoy. No, this is the Wi-Fi. This is your Wi-Fi antenna, okay? This is your Wi-Fi. You will see inside there is a little cable that goes and connects on the top. So another thing that is really cool on Xtool, I'm not going to use this part probably right now, but the big white is the laser module. The yellow one here is the one for your limit switches, and the red one here is the one that will connect your stepper motor. Now they have a port here. This is a support or something like that port. They use it to program the board, stuff like that. And you have here now, they're supposed to be the rotary, I believe, on the Pro versions. Another thing that you gotta remember, and people remember some cases, is this little guy here is like a master reset or boot. I don't know what exactly it does. I think it's a reset though. And then you have the on and off when you update the firmware. As always, the rubber feet are there. So your basic inspection is you have each size, you have the front, you have the main gantry where you're putting the module, the laser head, on, and you have the back. The center gantry comes with the cables pre-installed and all that. I did a little changes here, but doesn't matter. And then you have this rod here that is going to connect, in this case, back here, and go with the stepper motor connect. And how you connect that? With this coupler. So one of the things that I'm going to show during the assembly of this is how to get your gantry properly square with your frame, because that has been a problem all the time. So we're gonna go through that. All right, so I'm gonna be kind of checking here on the screen because I have the chat. So if someone asks something, please feel free. I can check there. You wanna say something, please feel free to do so. Originally, I will use my phone and see it in front of me, but basically, I'm gonna be focused on this. So another thing that I have here that came in the box, and people that have the laser already assembled probably saw. Sorry about the mess. I didn't make work today, whatever. So, oh yeah, and you have your memory card that comes there. That goes here. It's a micro SD, and that's where the firmware is stored. When it's updating the firmware, and it passes to this, and when you send a word over Wi-Fi, it stores the temporary file here. So don't lose it if you want to use Xtool stuff. So a couple stuff. The first Xtool didn't come with these cool folders. So I hear there's some stuff inside. So let's take a quick look. How's your day going, Oscar? Okay, so this seems to be number one is a metal base, so you don't burn your table. That's really handy. You have a, I'm gonna say a cork mouse pad and some material samples here. That's actually really nice. One thing that I just noticed. Oh my god, this is funny. The first time that I got this actually, but anyway. They have a stamp in here, a little stamp for a wooden stamp. That's cool though. The first time I just got a couple random materials and stuff, but oh boy. When I got the first Xtool, all I got on the original one was a little square of wood, and pretty much that's it. I didn't got anything else. It was a probably business card size piece of balsa wood. That was actually really funny because it's like, oh, you want to test your laser? You gotta find a way to do it because we are not sending you anything. But at the same time, it was the very beginning of the company. They just starting with everything. So it's nice to see that they're improving. That's always nice. And glad to hear, Oscar. Glad to hear. So here should be the instructions manual. If I can open it. All right. Xtool, the smart cutting machine. There you go. Hi, Xtool member. Hi, Xtool. Well, we have here the manual of Xtool. This is just a little brochure with what they do. Golden red. So these are instructions, instrucciones, instructis, instrucsaos, istruzioni. Italian, Portuguese, and all that. And this is a quick start guide that I imagine. Let's do this one. Instrucção, Portuguese. Alright, so this is your checklist. Okay, so my recommendation is always go through these first because I don't know if you ever got something on IKEA and you find yourself not having a wooden part with the screws. You find yourself not having probably an anchor to hold a chair together. And remember, IKEA get their stuff, I believe they're Swedish. right? Sweden, and some of the parts are only for their furniture. It's not like you can go to Ace Hardware or any other place and get it. So you gotta be creative. So it's important to know always your basic checklist. So as we did before, you know, we have all these parts. This doesn't matter right now. I have all these cables. Yes, I do. The storage box and all that, I don't care. I don't care about these. And 4 screws. We should have 8 and 4s. So let's go 4 here and 4 here. We have 8, and then we have an additional 8. So we have actually 16 and 4s. Yeah, I mean it's a screw and 4. One I guess is 8 millimeters and it's 16. So again, we check 4, 8, 12. Actually, I have a little more. I have 12, 17, 18. That's a lot. 4 and 4, 16 millimeters. This one's here. I should have 5. I have 5 in there. And 4, 25 millimeters. I have 4. I have 4 in there. So we should be good. Now, the assembly part. This is the easy part. Cut that part. Done. A, B, C, and D. Done. So just remember, and this is something that is also happening right now because so many users get the extension. So when we get the extension, our front of the laser is not this part anymore. This part will be your right or your left, unless you have, I don't know, 5 feet table long, and not on X. So another thing to understand, if you are holding this and you have the button on the right, just understand that this is your front, number 1, and at the same time, left to right is an X axis. Okay, X is the movement left to right, right to left. Y axis is going to be your movement front to back, back to front. That's Y. So this is a machine that works in 2 axes automatically. You have X and Y. When someone refers to Z, is this part in here because your model goes up or down for adjustment. That will be Z axis. Okay, that's really important. Just remember that. So let's start with the basics. Putting this puppy together, right? So Xtool has something cool that is all these, let's call it aluminum. I couldn't say extrusion, but I guess they are extrusions ultimately. Let's put this one away for a second. There are 3 channels for where everything is going to go. So in a way, you just gotta slide it. Now it happens a couple of times. There been a couple of users that has a problem, and I know also Xtool sent different machines or frames or anything to that. I don't know exactly what they said back, but let's put it here. You have to go in here somehow. Probably I'm one of those users. So I'm seeing something here that there's a little bend on the aluminum frame. So I'm gonna force it a little bit away. There we go. A little brute force. Brute force. There you go. Let's put it back now. And I can hear it scratching the thing. And that's not what happened. And now this part here, when you grab it and press, careful do not press from the board, press from the base of your frame. Make sure I'm not biting this. There we go. So before doing anything, we're going to inspect that the holes are in place. So I have the holes, I have everything there. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit, you know, wobbly, but that doesn't matter. That's okay. we have 3 people there. Hello. Whenever you just connect. I don't know who it is. I don't see anyone there. I'm just in the screen and I'm just trying to do this thing. So 4 screws, and you'll see in your manual, it will tell you where everything goes. So the next page will tell you where the screws goes. So make sure these are here and in. So let's push it there. There it is. And this is the part that I was mentioning. You guys are not going to be able to see this precisely, but I'm gonna try. So I push this all the way to touch, and the hole is shift to the left. So just move it to the right position to make sure that it's going to align. Okay? Not all the time it's just it's an error. Sometimes it's just that you have to align the holes and everything in place. This one's a little bit off. I'm gonna guess that it's okay. That's there. So 4 screws. I'm gonna put the 4 screws. So if you wanna do something simple, this is something that I like to do. Grab your screwdriver and before test to see which one goes in. And don't tighten it all the way in, okay? Just put it in place first. Always machinery and stuff like that, you don't tie one side and then the another one. You go in cross. So you distribute the tightness, if you will, in the right place. Just pull the screws, don't tighten anything. Just put it in place first. You just gotta make sure that everything is first locking. We have Mark on the live. I believe, Mark, you're an engineer, right? You work an engineer, so he's not gonna let me lie about these things. Alright, this is the basics. 4 screws there. Let's get a couple more screws because we're gonna need it. So there is 3 screws on the front, 3 screws on the back, 3 screws on the sides. So let's just start with that too. Before, again, do not tighten everything. First, put the screws in place. You want to make sure that everything first fits. So let's just put all the screws in place. What happens when you tighten the screws too much is if you need a little bit of a wiggle room to move and have the holes aligned, you're not going to be able to do it. So it's a good idea to just put everything, kind of hold it in place and not necessarily finish assemble kind of a tie. That's the last part you want to do. This one's here. There you go. Now that that is tight, I'm gonna flip the machine right now. Just like this. There we go. So you guys don't see that, but I'm gonna try to push this a little higher so it helps for you. Maybe there. There you go. So again, 3 and 3. So on the back you have 4 holes. You only want to use right now 3 because the one in the center, this part of the center, is for the belt tension. Okay. So again, see this screw is a little off, so you want to move this to make sure that the holes are in place. And if I tied everything up, I'm not going to be able to do that. You just gotta put these first in place, trying to make sure that the entire frame first is assembled. No final torque, you know, on the screw, but assembled. It's a good practice. I recommend it. If it's the first time for you putting your Xtool machine together, it can be look at that. It can be a little tricky. There we go. Again, the hole was a little bit off, so just need a little touch. There we go. Also, pay attention to the screws. You should be able to do this with 2 or 3 fingers top. You don't need to use your whole hand. If the screw is not going in easily, like this, definitely the screw is not in the right alignment. So it's important, it's really, really important that you pay attention to those little things. So you don't strip, you know, the thread and stuff like that. Alright, so we have the frame basically attached right now. This one just needs the screw in there, but we don't need to do much right at the second. So we're gonna put now this bar. So let me turn this for you here before we tighten more stuff up. Okay, so this bar has 2 parts, or 2 main parts. The first one is going to go in. There is a little ball bearing. That is the one that receives this. You gotta make sure that it's all the way in, right? So when that is all the way in, it's going to stay and it's not going to work. So the tricky part here is this. You have this guy. I recommend just put it in like this. Don't worry about it for now. Pay attention to the screws. Whatever is comfortable for you, to the top, so you can do it like this, or at the bottom, so you can do it under. Is up to you. Doesn't matter. Doesn't affect. Right now, just throw this in. And here's another thing to pay attention to: your belt. Your belt right now is attached up here and loose on the bottom. Okay. So make sure that you put the belt all the way in this, and then you put it inside the ball bearing. Once it's there, what you want to do here is grab the little part that you already have, make sure that this doesn't go off, and push this in both. Now that you have this in both places, okay, just make sure that you bite in both parts. The stepper in this case doesn't have a flat, so doesn't matter the location. So now that you have it in there, what we're gonna do is we are going to adjust this just enough to keep it in place so it doesn't go off. But we're going to work a little bit more on this. So grab the bar, push it against the ball bearing in the opposite direction of the stepper, and tight these screws. Again, just enough that you feel that it bites, but not completely finish your assemble. There we go. So a couple turns to make sure that this goes. That's it. For now, we're gonna do just that. Some people say, well, you can tighten it right now already. Yes, we can. But I like first to inspect what I'm doing to make sure that nothing is going to break. That for me is important, and I do it not only on this, I also do it during the construction of all these things that I built. Okay, so your next page talks about this back here. You have the blue ones, right? Remember, we have the blue ones somewhere. Here you go. Got 25 millimeters. So we got 2. We're gonna put 1 in here, and 1 is going to go here. So the one that goes here, in this case the right of the machine, you need to hold with your hand the little square. There's a little square. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it properly, but there's a little square that holds the belt, the pulley. That pulley, you need to hold it, because if you don't do that, the screw is not going to reach. Alright, so there we go. I grab it already. So again, don't over tight this now, because this is the belt tension. You gotta play with the belt tension in both places. And as possible, you want to make sure that the belt tension is the same for both sides, left and right. Now if I can only put this in the right place. There we go. I will put music, but copyright, man. Alright, so we have this. So what we have right now is basically the whole frame assembled. This doesn't matter right now. We are going to work on that. So technically speaking, right now is super easy. We have this, and we're going to align this perfectly back on the frame. So there's a couple considerations that I like to have, but first we're going to tighten all the screws back to the final position. So first, I want to make sure that it doesn't wobble, and I want to start with the top ones. There we go. Now I'm gonna go to the back, and a nice tight screw is gonna be a nice happy screw right now. So that sounds so weird. I know there's 100,000 videos of how to assemble the machine, and everyone has their own way to assemble the machine at the same time. So what I'm doing right now is just going with the user manual and trying to show what I will do to put the machine together. Because a lot of people actually ask me, a lot of people say like, hey, okay, I put together my machine, but I don't know if I did it right. Honestly, there's not a right or a wrong way to do it. The only thing that I will consider a wrong way to assemble the machine is if you assemble the machine, it doesn't work. If you assemble your machine and it's working, you're cutting, you're engraving, hey, doesn't matter what you did a good job. That's it. Call it a day. There we go. Okay, so we have the frame. It's nice and sturdy. Okay, things to consider and to know when you have your frame. Number one, you have these little holes. Those are for zip ties. So when you pass a cable or anything like that, goes the zip tie. Same happen in this part. It goes with the cables and everything for, you know, your regular wire harness. In this case, this machine is going to get a little bit more of the live pixel treatment if you want. But for now, we are doing everything that Xtool tells us to do. Alright, so we have everything here. We put the bar, we go to the next part. We assemble this part of the bar, and now comes the part to adjust. So this is the part that is actually simple, and sometimes some people get confused. Why it's not working? Okay, let me tell you why it's not working. Number one, you don't need to adjust both and release both. You only need one. So once you have everything in place, you can tighten if you want. You can adjust if you want only the stepper and adjust it very well, and untie only the bar. So the bar is moving individually independent from the stepper. When that happens, what you can do here is you push your stepper down, this touch on the back, you will hear the touch on the back, touch on the back, right? So now you're gonna touch this better. So I'm gonna lose a little bit so I can turn this screw. Just turn this screw down there, down there. I recommend to unscrew the bar instead of the motor. It's easier. Here we go. Always make sure that you are pushing your bar against the ball bearing. Tight it here and tight it here. Make sure that this is down. There is down. And tight. Alright. So Let me just double check. I don't remember if I did this one. There it is. Man, I need something to drink. Here it is. Okay, so these are on the back. So when you push these now, they both move and they go to the point. So this is the part that I have issues too, and I don't know how many people had that issue as well. It happened in a couple machines. Actually, it happened in one of the machines that I was doing before. I just noticed that one of the legs doesn't have a rubber. Well, I have a couple of rubbers over there. Maybe it's in the box. So, for whatever reason, it frames on the front, but it doesn't frame on the little square on the back. There is like a little gap here that is not in here. So again, if that is happening to you, a couple of issues will be untie, you know, just the screws and push this on the back. So this thing tells us to push it all the way, right, and you will see the picture. Push it all the way to the bottom, basically, where you're going to square it. And you can tighten it and all that. My problem is every time I do it to the bottom, it's a little bit different, and I want to tell you why. Because at the bottom, the distance is different between the stepper area and the main board. So when you do this, you want to do it actually backwards and go to the back. It's going to actually be a little bit more complicated in a way, but it's going to give you a better result. So let's untie the motor here, if I can actually see the screw. Come on, screw, stay there. And that's a little bit of the process of why my machine is not framing correctly. Why my machine is a little in an angle instead of a straight line. You know? So that's kind of what happened. So I'm gonna put it this way, push this on the back, and put this on the back. So now I have these two. I wanna make sure. Still gotta untie this a little bit more. Still spinning both together. There. There's a little gap. This one is not reaching. So let's untie this more. So you can spin freely. Down, down, and down. Now that I have both in a lower position, I'm going to tie this up. So this is down before I get the last screw. I can barely see the screws because, of course, I have the light in my face. There we go. Just to make sure, I'm gonna do it here because I don't have the light in my face. The last tight and tight. There we go. There we go. Now both sides are perfect. That's it. That concludes for me the part of assembled back. Now this, since everything is already on, forget about the extra cables because you won't have that. That's a bad thing that I love to do. So now we're gonna put these screws here. So there are 4 screws. I'm gonna tie this. If I can find our little holes. There we go. And just what I was saying. This is easier if you put it on the screwdriver first. There we go. Again, don't tie it up all the way, just enough to hold it. And again, enough on this side to hold it. These ones are a little harder to put in because they have a Loctite. They're kind of a dry gel that they put on, and that makes it a little harder sometimes to tie, you know. That doesn't mean that you are tied it too much. It's just the thread lock that they put on. Leave it in there. Alright. Now let's put the other one. So just one thing to remember, I'm doing in cross. Put the back first, the front, and the other one. Then the front and then the back. So how you know that you're putting the gantry in the right direction? The carrier, all this carrier or carriage, if you want, it's in the front. You put it on the back, but it's gonna be weird. No, it's not gonna work right well. Everything's going to be inverted. There we go. The last one here. There we go. Here we'll do a screwdriver for left-handed people. I'm not left-handed, but it's really interesting. There we go. Now I'm going to tie in the same order that I put this in. 1, 2. My allergies are killing me today. 3 and 4. Here we go. We have the gantry installed. Now, things to take in consideration. We have a couple screws that are for, we'll figure it out. We have all this. We have this on the carrier. This is a ratchet screw. So when you put your laser on, people is like, oh, I can untie this more or adjust more. So if you have trouble with that, pull it up like this, pull this to the side, turn it, put it down, turn it again, pull it up, turn it, whoa, don't fall, pull it down and turn it again, and repeat as many times as you need to, or remove the screw, or tie or untie your laser. It can be locked in place. Alright, so we have right now the machine, and now we're going to play a little bit with the belt tensions to make sure that this actually rides and glides properly. So the belt tensions are adjusted with a screw on the back here and back here, and the belt tension for X is this little screw here that you untie and you push little carry with your thumbs. You push it back, or push it forward. This machine comes with different switches. You have a limit here on the front, and actuator, well, a sensor here, and you have another one on the back. So when this goes all the way to the back, it goes in to the little carrier and say, hey, you are on the limit. So this is an interesting thing to notice. How they work. You will see this metal piece. This metal piece sometimes is a little bit off. Untie these two screws and you can move the piece forward or back. This will give you the range where the limit is actually being activated. The limit itself is on the gantry, and this is where it goes. This path is the limit itself. It's passing on the limit. These two grooves look like this. And that's pretty much it. Just play with the tension. A couple things to consider with the belt tension. Your machine with your laser should fall, slow like this. If your belt tension is going like this, it's slow and smooth, you're good to go. You shouldn't have any issues. So yeah, that's it, guys. It's been actually pretty easy. I'm going to install a bunch of other stuff in here and go live again. Here are all the information about the cables and all that. That's gonna be covered in a different way, in a different life, because this machine is going for the devil. Yes, it's gonna be a devil one machine. It's not going to use nothing else. So hope you guys like it. Pro is not the most entertaining that you can have today, but that's how I like to assemble the machines, going super easy, super simple, trying to not complicate myself too much. You online, Oscar? I think I need to connect on my phone because I don't see the chat anymore. That's exactly right. Keep it simple, Oscar. Let's keep it simple. In fact, the user manual, in my opinion, is great, but at the same time, I believe over explains a couple of things. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that, but could be simplified. I think it could be simplified. I think they try to make it, in a way that anyone will follow it, and it's fine. But a couple of things that I think are important to know. For example, what is I don't know where you throw that thing. I think it's under something. Here you go. What is this? Heng Sheng. This is bicycle grease, white grease, and where do you put this? So when you clean your machine, there is grease people clean the machine. This builds up a lot. The rails, the silver rails, doesn't matter if you have a red machine, doesn't matter if you have a blue machine. The silver rails or stainless steel rails builds up, and you have two on each side, and you have two on your gantry. Those are the ones you want to clean. Just a nice clean, If you want to use this, it's fine. Use it. Nothing wrong with that. I prefer, any other oil. Do not use dry, those kind of sprays, dry loops, because they're not really good for this. Also, you don't want to grease in the point that builds up, and whatever you cut is going to be, stick on it. So a little bit isopropyl alcohol. I usually have one of these bottles with isopropyl IPA 99%. Great, evaporates really quick, so you don't need to worry. A piece of paper towel, clean the rail 1, clean the rail 2, push this forward or back depending how you're sitting on, and the same on the other end. So it happened on the right, it happened on the left, and this one has one on the top and one on the bottom. Usually the ones that came already installed on the sides, so came already greased at the sides. This one is really dry already. I can pass my hand and there's nothing. But in these ones I pass my hand, it's so greasy. So if you want to do a little bit, just put a little bit. Just put it on your finger and pass it on, and pass it on all the way and same on the bottom. That will probably help to keep your machine a little bit in a pristine condition to operate. Other than that, you don't have to do much. These machines are pretty easy to keep up if you have a routine. Please don't forget to subscribe. We're coming with a second live. I'm not going to do it tonight, but we're going to come with another live to continue with this machine. We're going to set level 1 on this machine. So stay tuned. We're going to put all the limit switches and all the stuff around, and then we're going to configure level 1 and install it on Lightburn. So click the little bell to get notifications down, and also subscribe to the channel. That helps us a lot. Thumbs up is welcome. Please share the video with people that want to start with a hobby. It's really easy to follow all the instructions. You don't need to read out the entire user manual. I recommend it though, but you don't need to if you know a little bit of where the screws goes. And other than that, I mean, guys, come on. It's a fun hobby. So as always, just fire the laser and don't burn your house down. Have a great weekend, everyone. The rest of the weekend. And please, if you have any questions, you guys know how to find me. I'm on Facebook. I'm on the website. You can find me everywhere online. Take it easy, yo.